Vasishta has been giving us a first-hand account of his own enlightenment practice. Enlightenment practice is about engaging with creation and dissolution. It's the choice that is presented to us at every moment, whether to be involved in creation or to dissolve our connection with all notions of creation. So he's come back into creation on a very subtle level. He identified with the element air. And now he's returned to his hermitage in outer space. Vasishtha continued, "After all this, I re-entered my cottage or hermitage in outer space. I looked for my physical body. It was not there. But I found an aged sage sitting in that hermitage. He was in deep meditation. He was seated in the lotus posture. His face was radiant and beautiful on account of the peace and bliss that filled him. His lotus-like hands had been placed in front of his navel, and they shone with an extraordinary brilliance. His eyes were closed, and he was obviously beyond body consciousness. Not seeing my own body, but observing the sage sitting in meditation, I began to think as follows. Surely this is a great and perfected sage. Like me, he must have arrived here, seeking total seclusion. Since he sought seclusion, he must have seen this hermitage in space. Perhaps he expected me to return, and seeing that I had not returned for a long time, he must have thrown that body out, and himself occupied the hermitage. Let me return to my own realm." So he just saw this discarded body there and threw it out. "When I thus reflected, and when my desire to stay in that hermitage ceased, that hermitage disappeared, and with it even that sage disappeared. When one's thoughts, notions, or concepts cease, that which those thoughts brought into being also ceases. When my wish for the hermitage ceased, it disappeared." This is what happens. Reality is what our attention is on at any moment. We assume that reality is going on when our attention is not dwelling on it. But that's an assumption. Of course, we can always return our attention to that assumed reality, and it's there again. But at any moment, the attention can only be on one thing, and that is our reality. So, Vasishta's let go of his hermitage. Whether the hermitage existed in outer space or not isn't really the point. The point is that Vasishta has just moved his attention away from it, and it's no longer an issue. It might as well not exist. In fact, it doesn't exist anymore. Like a spacecraft, that hermitage fell, the sage fell, and I too descended along with him onto the earth plane. The sage landed in the same state and posture in which he was in that hermitage. It seems that Vasishta did not turn his attention from this sage. So this sage is still in the picture. The sage landed in the same state and posture in which he was in that hermitage. This was because, through the union of prana and apana, he had overcome the force of gravity. He did not even wake up from his meditation. His body was strong as a rock and light as cotton. In order to bring him back to normal body consciousness, I assumed the form of a big cloud which rained and thundered. You would think if this sage could survive a fall from outer space down to earth, then a thundercloud, a big wet thundercloud, isn't going to do much. But we have to understand the nature of the sound of thunder. It's a very dramatic, powerful sound, and it's one of the sounds that you traditionally hear in meditation. Then he regained body consciousness. I inquired of him, "Where are you, O sage? What are you doing? Who are you? Though you fell from such height, you are oblivious of it. How is that?" After contemplating the past for a few moments, the sage said, I have now recognized you, O Holy One. I salute you. Kindly pardon me for not having saluted you earlier. It is indeed the nature of sages to be forgiving. O sage, I have wandered in the realms of the gods for a considerable time. I am tired of this samsara. When all this is pure consciousness, what is it that we call pleasure? Hence I reside in space, free from mental distractions and attraction. None of these sense experiences is real, independent of consciousness. Objects of pleasure are sources of poison. Sexual delights are delusions. Sweetness robs the enjoyer of sweetness. He who is overcome by them is surely destroyed. This life is short. It is full of distractions. By sheer accident sometimes one gets a little happiness here. Nothing is permanent or stable here. Like a pot on the potter's wheel, this body revolves endlessly in this life. There are powerful thieves everywhere. These thieves are the sense objects. Hence I should be vigilant. So we're moving from Vasishta's first-hand experience now to somebody else's story. And this is the continuation of the involvement with creation. This sage from outer space is giving us a summary of the teaching.